Hey, Progress fam. I want to talk with y'all today about competition and why it does not exist in my world. And I'm going to give you 5 things that you probably should pay more attention to in your own business if competition is something that you think about or you actually make as an excuse to your growth, your progress, that your own success that you want to make. It makes me think about those SWOT analysis that people do in a lot of times in traditional business planning, and they'll look at their threats as their competition. And that's been something that for years I can remember well over 10 years ago when I was still a mechanic, as actually a general manager of a little oil change and small repairs place for cars and light trucks. And I remember thinking about competition at that point. I'm like, we really don't have competition. We're just different. We might offer the same things. And this was like way beyond my entrepreneurship journey. And so that's a story I'll tell you all another day and another time. A lot of people know that I actually originally went to college to be a mechanic. And then that knowledge, that technical knowledge, and the theory behind cars and just all the principles of how internal combustion engines work and just how everything works together, torque and the powertrain, all that stuff, that actually has been very helpful for me in business. And so I'll talk about that one of these days. I love being able to use that knowledge and relate it to these days. And actually, when I think about building a business, I think about a car and how it operates and how all these pieces of a car, how it relates to business. And so, really excited to tell you all about that one of these days. But the competition thing is something where this came up in conversation yesterday as I was talking with a friend of mine that she was talking to. So this friend of mine has a med spa. She was talking with another woman that has a med spa, and she wants to blame competition as part of the reason that she hasn't been able to get her practice to the heights that she wants it to. And just point blank, blaming your competition for your lack of progress or growth that you want is just a lazy way out of getting in and doing the real work, of refining the parts of your business that are going to allow you to be in an industry of one. And that is why when we help people with their business strategy, it is about defining the transformation that they get their clients beyond just what you do. Because it's so easy for people to go into a conversation, attach themselves to what they do. That's lazy. We want you to focus on how do you actually change people's lives? How are you changing their day, their weeks, their entire life as a result of the products and services that you offer? And that's what we really want you to lean into. And so when I hear people blame their competition, it tells me that they haven't really done the deep work of understanding, why am I doing this in the first place? And so on the heels of that conversation, I am out walking my dog this morning, and I love going out in the morning. I love being alone. I am very much what I consider an interdependent person. I am probably more independent than I am dependent, but I like interdependency because it's understanding that while you can do things on your own, you prefer not to. You prefer to have relationships with people where you get to utilize their strengths in tandem with yours, and it just makes for a much more rewarding and enriching life. But nonetheless, it doesn't mean that I don't like to be alone, because I absolutely relish my alone time. So when I'm out walking my dog in the morning, that is my quiet time. And I have the best thoughts in the mornings. And like a lot of people, especially a lot of entrepreneurs, if you're Enneagram 3, you like to get up early, you get your best time in the mornings. And so I was walking this morning. I'm listening to my favorite pastor, Erwin McManus. If you have not heard of him, absolutely recommend him. He has churches out in LA, and I believe maybe 1 or 2 in Mexico. Great person, entrepreneur, one-of-a-kind person. And his podcast, his sermon from last Sunday, was talking about the questions that we get asked that actually make us stronger. And this is something that I've tried to, and I iterate to my team very often that, when we ask better quality questions, it's not about us, it's about helping people to realize they already have the answers to the problems that they're experiencing. We want to just help them experience their greatness. And so thinking about how can we ask better quality questions, I was thinking about asking myself these questions that he was asking in this sermon. And as I'm going through it and I'm working on the last few pieces before this program launch for Progress University, The hardest part of this for me is the specificity, or was until this morning, was the specificity around who is this for? And this is where I think a lot of people struggle because they have great products and services, but they're not great at their messaging. And I can attribute so much value and clarity and just confidence and conviction in how we help people through focusing all of last year on sales and messaging and just really understanding how to articulate that value. And that is what I think more people need to invest in so that they're not worried about their competition. And so the question that came up for me this morning was, Brittany, how do you see yourself in the people that you want to help? And it just was like, it almost makes me tear up because it was just so eye-opening for me, and it felt so good to have that clarity. And I was able to clearly define the people that I want to serve with this program. And I came back home immediately and I journaled out, like, I think it at least 2 full pages, if not 3. And then I immediately typed it all out because I had to write it out before my brain lost it. And then I went and typed it out, and I met with my coach this morning, and it's just like it all came together. And when I thought about that, it's like, there are so many business strategists out there. There's so many CPAs. There's so many CFOs. There's a lot of people that label themselves with the title of what I have for my own. And that is okay. And I refer so many people to other people in my industry. And because it's not about competition, it's about collaboration. Anytime I've ever felt myself want to draw back or get intimidated by what somebody else does that is similar to what I do, it always makes me realize, like, I am lacking confidence in myself in some area, and that is the reason that I am wanting to pull back. And I need to fix whatever that is. I need to figure out, like, why am I feeling that way? Because it's not their problem that I am insecure about whatever the case might be. And so really going in and rooting that out has given me so much more confidence when somebody comes to us and they need tax strategy only, or they have a business where it's like, yeah, we could help you, but I want to make sure this is a really great fit. So I'm just going to refer you to this friend of mine that's also a CPA, and they can help you with this tax strategy because we really focus on businesses, right? And I have so much confidence and conviction in myself that competition does not exist in my world. And I want that for our clients and the people that we get to work with and the people that we have the opportunity to inspire, because when you live a life of fearing competition, you're living in fear and in doubt in your own self to some degree or another. And we don't want that for you. And so there were 5 things that really came to mind when I was like, what are things that people really need to focus on if competition is something that they're paranoid about, that they think about when they're doing their business planning? If they're allowing that to be an excuse, how can I help them to dig a little deeper and get past that, to understand that that is absolutely irrelevant? And one of my best friends, we talk about this pretty often, and I'm so proud of her because she's built this phenomenal business from scratch, and she truly has, more than anything else, a desire to change people's lives. And she has been rewarded so many ways, not even just financially, from that conviction and that commitment to truly wanting to change people's lives. And she could have somebody in the same exact industry plop down in the building beside her, and it's not going to faze her because she is so clear on how she wants to change people's lives, why is that important for her, and what that client results journey looks like for her business. And so I want to talk just high level, quickly overview of 5 areas that you might want to consider really digging into if you're worried about your competition. And this may right now feel like it is a very real threat for you. And so this is going to be even more powerful for you. And so the first thing that comes to mind is messaging or positioning to the people that you want to serve. And your messaging is, when you get so great at your messaging, it's like when you are sharing content, when you're speaking about how you can change people's lives through your products and services, you are getting in their head. You are telling them that you know the thoughts that they're thinking, you know the repetitions of their daily life, how they may be self-sabotaging themselves, how, when I think about like property management, for instance, being able to speak to directly how people's properties are losing value because of these little things that they're not doing, and they don't even realize it until you point it out to them, because it's so subconscious for them until they realize, like, oh, somebody, this person really does get me. Like, there is a ton of property management companies out there, but you're the only property management company that can actually tell people you're going to be able to spend more time with your family, because we have a comprehensive property management service that takes care of all of these needs that not only maintain your property, but actually improve the value of it. And that's going to speak to people so much more than we do property management services. We check on your property. We're going to make sure that your tenants are getting their rent collected, da, da, da. I mean, that stuff is great, but that's more about what you do, not how you change their life. And two property management companies could do the same exact thing, but the one that's able to articulate the value and translate that, how it's actually going to translate to value in that person's life, they're going to gravitate toward that person. And I'm not even the greatest at this yet, but I will say that this has been the biggest eye-opening thing for me personally over the last year, because when I looked at my growth and I look at my numbers, we're doing great profitability with where we're at, but we're stuck at this ceiling, and it was because I didn't know how to attract and speak to the people that I truly want to serve. And so when I got really clear on that, it just completely allowed me to have this conviction to eliminate things that I didn't want to commit my time to anymore. It allowed me to really go all in on the clients and be able to not just go all in on them, but raise my prices, because I'm able to show them how I can provide them more value. And these are people that I've been working with. Just from the power of nailing down my messaging, it's like we want to work with very ambitious women that understand that their businesses are purpose-driven tools and that they're meant to be able to change lives. It's not about just making money. That's going to happen. But we want to be able to design your business so that you become the least important person in your business, so that other people can really maximize the reason that they were created, their own talents and abilities, through taking care of your own clients and customers. And so that's what we want to create for people. And so we focus on those types of women that truly have a heart for people in entrepreneurship. And they want to be able to leverage their business and their mindset to where they don't feel guilty for getting out of their business. They understand that this is actually going to be in better service to the whole when we design their business that doesn't rely on any one person too much. It's like that key man risk, right? And so all of this for me comes back to the power of messaging to really be able to help you to understand that your business is as unique as your own DNA, because no two businesses are the same, just like no human being on the face of this earth that ever has been, is, or will never be the same, right? So this is why we want you to be able to speak your voice through your messaging to help people understand that what you have to offer is merely the medium of how you change lives, but your messaging is not what you do. It is who you are. It is how you change people's lives. So that is the first thing that I would encourage you to really hone in on. And if this is something where it's like, you really want to go deep on this, maybe this needs to be your big domino. There are a lot of coaches out there. Now, I would definitely recommend mine because I love her style. She just is so bold and so good. She is the messaging queen. And so if you need help with that, I got somebody for you. Just reach out to me. The next thing that comes to mind is your marketing strategy. So the thing about marketing is that it's all about getting attention, and cash flows where attention goes. And so I think about, if you had all the eyeballs on you that you wanted, you would not have a problem reaching your goals. And Alex Hormozy actually talks about this, in that if you had the entire world that knew who you were, you would not have a problem achieving your goals. And so the biggest problem that businesses generally face is getting attention. Now, there's definitely a lot of other problems that they can face, but that is one of the biggest ones. And especially in the realm of considering competition, then it's really like, are they getting more attention than you are? Why is that? You just need to be better about getting attention of the right people. And chances are that the audience that they have is not going to be the audience for you. If you've been in business for long enough, you know that every client or customer, just because they give you money doesn't mean that you want them. And hopefully that you have not learned this the hard way. Actually, I hope that you have, because experience is a great teacher, right? And so You don't want every dollar that comes through your door. We're not chasing dollars, we're chasing impact. And when you're chasing the right people, when you're attracting the right people rather through your marketing efforts, then the money is going to be, that's why your business is going to be so much more profitable. And you're not going to just have a lot of sales with little profit. You're going to have a lot of sales and a lot of profit. And that's what we want. So looking at your marketing strategy, how intentional is this? Like every single part of your marketing strategy should be dripping with intention, and then it should be consistent, right? You can't expect to just, hey, this is here. That thing where they say that if you build it, then they'll come. That is not true. The best known beats the best, right? So looking at your marketing strategy, if something that about competition is that you're worried about, the next one is your client results journey. Need to be very clear on this. And your client results journey is simply from the moment that somebody is aware of who you are to where how they discover that you can actually solve a problem that they have, and they come through that journey of getting that problem or getting taken care of, or maybe they just want to make something better. That's still a problem in and of itself. It is the way that you craft your journey, the process of them getting that transformation, getting that result, right? And so a lot of people lack confidence in this because it's not clearly drawn out. They don't have kind of like their own proprietary proven framework or proven process for getting results. Now, if you would just sit down and take time to look at who are my top customers and clients that really rave about what we have to offer, what have we done with those that is consistent? Look at the principle of what you do, and you'll probably start to notice some consistencies with these people. You're going to start to notice, how are these people similar? That's really going to help you with your messaging. And your client results training, when you really get clear on this and you articulate the process and you document this out, you define the processes, you define the people that are part of this process. What does it look like to be able to get them this transformation? How do we do that? Strategy is merely a recipe for how people achieve a goal or a desired objective, right? It's so simple. It's your strategy. And so this is why I love frameworks, because they make this client results journey fun. And this is how you can tweak it to where it is yours. It is nobody else's. This is where you start getting into trademarking, copywriting, things like that. Because when you have a proven process for doing things, when it's really good, you're going to want to make sure that nobody else can copy that, which is the beauty of being able to trademark things. And so when you have this client or this customer results journey or patient results journey, where you know that when your patients, your customers go through this process consistently, they will get results. That is absolutely going to give you confidence and conviction, where you're not going to be focused on the outside world anymore. You're going to be focused on, we are so good at this. I want to be the best known and the best at this. So you're going to be focusing on your energy being used to build that up, rather than to tear somebody else down or to tear yourself down from the inside with the thoughts that you're thinking because of the doubt. And remember, doubt causes chaos, right? So building out your client results journey, focusing on what you can control, is going to give you conviction. And so you're not going to be focused on competition. And then the next thing is pricing. This is one of the biggest issues that we see in businesses. So many people compete on price because they're worried about competition, right? And competing on price is just a race to the bottom. Now, that doesn't mean that you should be able to jack your prices up to be more than anybody else's, but it does need to make sense for your business, which is why, going back to your client results journey, you need to know, what is the process? If I want to ensure the highest quality result for my clients, what is the process they need to go through? What are the standards that I need to be able to have? Once you have clarity on that, then that's when you price out what you have to offer. People make the mistake. I had to pause it for a second to get Mr. Littles. But people make the mistake of pricing what they do before they've actually objectively taken into account the cost it takes for them to deliver the result to the people at the standard and the quality that they want to, right? And so focusing on your pricing and being off the competition, you'll never win that way. That is a race to the bottom. And so the other thing about pricing is that your prices say a lot about you. And one of the things that I want you to think about, this was like such an eye-opening epiphany for me a couple of years ago when I realized this. But how many times, it's very common for people to look at the price of something and disqualify themselves from being able to have it because they're like, well, that price is too high. But flip the script on that and realize when somebody looks at the price of something, how many times have they disqualified you as the provider or as the business that could provide them what they want because they thought it was too low to be good quality? And so, if you really care about quality and high service and high standards of what you have to offer, then one of the other things that you got to realize is that people will judge you based on your prices, good and bad. And that is okay. The thing about prices is that price is only a problem in the absence of value. When you're able to articulate the value, going back to the messaging, understanding your marketing strategy, having a very confident and clearly defined client results journey based on whatever you have to offer, then your pricing is one of the last things to consider in there, and people will justify the price rather than trying to make excuses for it. And so this is one of those things where, like, look at Walmart, for instance, and then go look at a Neiman Marcus, just how they price things on the tax. One of the places, actually, I notice this a lot is restaurants that have lower quality food versus restaurants that have higher quality food, and it's the environment and the atmosphere is just so much more elevated. A lot of times the prices on the menus of these meals that are going to be $500 or $600 for two people, they may not even have prices on there, or it may be market price, or the prices will just be the whole number. There's not going to be change on there. Versus when you go to a lower priced restaurant where it might have stuff on there for $9.99, $10.99. That is pricing psychology. So you can look that up and discover more about that. But there's so much about pricing that tells people way more about who you are and what you have to offer and the quality of it than just the number and how much money is going to come out of their bank account when they pay you. And then the last thing that comes to mind is that I go back to this question and remembering that we are best equipped to serve the people that we used to be and helping other people come out and come up with us. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about wanting to help other people make progress in their own lives and grow up. And I have this thing where I truly believe, I think the worst thing for me is to see other people that I see so much potential in them. I believe in them so much, and they don't see that for themselves. And not only do they not see it, they won't let somebody else help them to see it. And that's even worse. And it gives me cold chills to even think about this. But there's so many people that I have loved and lost that will come and that will go, and people that you know that have been born and brought into this world, and they will die and they will never realize their full potential, and the entire world suffers as a result of that. And that is the worst thing for me personally. When I think about, I get to the end of my life and we're all going to have that opportunity, I hope, to be able to reflect on, was it a life worth living? It scares me to think that I will be laying there and able to do nothing else but reflect on my life and not be able to be confident that I didn't make the most of it while I could have, that I didn't do enough good in the world, or that I didn't actually change somebody's life. That is like my nightmare. And I don't want that to necessarily be the case for a lot of people. And it's not. And that's fine. But it is very important for me that I help people become the person that they were created to be through our products and services. So that is my purpose. A lot of people, though, don't have that conviction. And so that's why they get burnt out and they show up and they really just have a job more than a business. And this is why they get stuck in the grind and stuck in the day-to-day, and they can't break past this ceiling where they're ingrained in the day-to-day operations of their business because they're thinking too small. They're not even clear on their own purpose. And then because they're not clear on that, they're not communicating it. You're having a lot of turnover. Your profitability is low. Maybe you're making a lot of money, but you're not happy. And that's not what we want. And so when you're clear on your purpose, nobody else is going to have your purpose. I promise you, it's just like DNA, y'all. No two people's purposes are the same. Now, you're going to have alignment with other people that have those values, and you're going to have people that want to be part of that journey of that purpose, and they will be part of that. And I could look at my team and say, they want to be part of what I'm passionate about, and they want to be part of the purpose of this company. But that's not necessarily their purpose. They are just helping to live out their purpose through helping me with mine. And that's how it should work, right? Going back to interdependency, that's how I believe that it should work. And so I think if you get really clear, and not even I think, like I know with certainty, when you get clear and convicted on these things, you don't worry about competition. People that are in the same industry as you, the woman down the road, the man across the street, the person across the world that has a very similar messaging style on their Instagram as you do, you're going to start to see them as collaborators rather than competition. And the thing that comes to mind, it's actually on the Kentucky state flag, I believe, probably several other places, is united we stand and divided we fall. That concept's no different in business when you're looking at things and your weaknesses and your competition such a way. So I know that if you stop allowing yourself to say, okay, this is truly not a competition problem, what would allow me to be confident to where I could show up and this wouldn't be an issue for me anymore in my business. It will change, it will transform not just your business, it's going to transform the way that you are as a person as a whole. So the thing I want to leave you with is that competition really only feels like a problem when your foundation is not solid. And so I know that if you focus on these 5 things, just watch how quickly it transforms your life. So I hope that this helps. I would love to hear what resonated with you the most. Otherwise, be back on here tomorrow, and I hope you all have a great day. Let's grow.